Hi, my name is Sarah Fell, and I hate rerooting, so I did it 3 times in a row. Technically 4, but this video will only show 3. This video isn't going to be a tutorial. This is more so a rambly video, a more chatty video. So if you are new to rerooting, unfortunately, this video is not the best place to start. But I am sure there are plenty of doll artists out there who have made much better tutorials than I ever would. Um, I did, however, learn a new method of rerouting, which I will hopefully get into if my scatterbrain remembers to mention it when the clips get there. But that aside, hello. It has been a minute since I've done one of these videos where I just talk about whatever comes to mind. It has been very rainy where I am, raining on and off, and even on days where it doesn't rain, it's been quite humid and cold, so I can't necessarily spray MSC. I don't really want to waste it, so I thought the best way to pass the time would be with rerooting, even though I don't like to do it. The cloudy weather has a big effect on my mood too. When it's cloudy and rainy like this, I refuse to get out of bed. So I thought at least if I do the thing I don't like doing, maybe it'll make me feel a lot better about myself. And in a way, I guess it did. I guess it did. So I was already having a really hard time when I prepped these dolls because I don't know. I feel like it has been mentioned or before, maybe on Twitter by one of my mutuals, but my god, these Garden Mysteries dolls had super hard heads. Or mostly Twyla. Twyla had a rock solid head. Drax's head was a bit softer, and Venus's head was half of Venus's head was only hard because she has the molded on braids, but Twyla in particular, rock solid. Like I feel like if I threw it if I threw it at the wall, it would make a really loud noise. Sorry. um but yes, also uh these these dolls were rooted very thickly with poly, and I had such a hard time removing the stubbles that I had to call in my dad for backup, and he handed me a pair of forceps and was like, girl, good luck. But they did work. They did work a lot better, but maybe that's also because those tweezers aren't the best tool for removing these plugs anyway. But anyways, this may be some of the last instances in which I ever need to reroute a doll. There is still Hauntlywood Mysteries. Um, as much as I hate them, or I hate their bulky packaging, I love the clothes that the dolls come with, and I especially love in that line the little hand hearts or Caddy's little finger heart, so I think it's evil that they would target me like that and then be like, haha, we're gonna make it a $35 purchase for you. But Mattel doesn't know how stubborn I am and how I will wait for that doll to hit clearance. Just like I waited for these dolls to hit clearance. So I got these ghouls, or I got Twilight and Venus for around 15 and Draculaura for about 10. Um, Also, Venus in particular had very big plugs from the braids and the straight hair being plugged at her um, part line, I guess, part line there. But thankfully, the boiling water trick really helped shrink them. For Dracula's, I wanted to keep Dracula's colors, but at the time I didn't have the correct berry match, so I decided to mix this wine and deep red color together. But if you're interested in rooting your Draculaura in the same colors as the factory poly, then I believe Shimmerlocks has recently released a pack that matches the colors quite beautifully. I have no stakes in Shimmerlocks. They are one of the best sites to get doll hair from. But I have hair from everywhere because I just whatever is most accessible to me. Twyla got nylon from my Neon Frights Twyla reroot because I'm stingy and I didn't want to spend money on new colors, and Venus is going to be my very first 3mm curly nylon reroot. So now we're getting into all of this very awkwardly filmed footage, but if you notice here, I am doing a very different version of rerooting. Please ignore how clumsy this footage is. This is probably my second time trying it out. The first time I tried doing it was with a different doll and I didn't like it, but that's probably because I wasn't used to it and I was losing a lot of hair, which was partly why I didn't like it. But after learning how to do it and getting used to it, I think I do like this method very much for straight hair reroots. Before I get into that though, notice how I blended the wine and the deep red together so the hair has a bit of depth to it and it's not just one solid color. I am a bit sad that it's not that berry tone though, but you make do. So you want to weave the thing of hair, the hank of hair between your finger like this. You don't need too much, just however much your finger can hold or your thumb can hold down. And then using your rerooting tool, you want to scoop and scrape a plug's worth of hair from the little hank of hair and you plug it right into the hole. I can't explain it very well, but hopefully this video will help. Explain it. I also use a piece of washi tape because I didn't like the rerooting tool or rerooting needle scraping up my finger. So I just used washi tape, but I would suggest a more plasticky tape because the washi tape does get ripped up. I just use washi tape because I have a lot of it. So I first saw this method from Doll Expodoir on YouTube. I was watching her Rainbow High Customs, very beautiful. And she is also on Twitter and Instagram, Doll Expodoir. Yes, this is, I believe, her reroot method, or I first saw it from her. I don't know where she got it from, but I first saw it from her. And Opalescent Custom Dolls on Instagram made a reel that explained more in depth how to do it, and I believe they also learned from Doll Expodoir. I will probably link them in the description, so please, please check them out. I lost my train of thought, sorry. Yeah, for the hair part line, I do like to thatch now and then, but in the cases where you just want to get things done fast, then plugging down one side and then plugging down the other also works. And I feel like I personally get more consistent results when I do that. You just have to be more careful as to not split the scalp. And this method is also pretty great for doing it in that method. But you could probably experiment and just see what works for you. This is what works for me. By the time I'm done with this reroot, which technically probably only took me one day, I did it in 2 sittings within 24 hours, so I would constitute that as less than a day. So by the time I got to this Twyla, I felt a lot more comfortable doing this method, and Twyla was done really fast. I believe I did her in basically 1 sitting. I believe Opalescent Custom Dolls said that they were able to get multiple dolls a day done with this method. I don't think I could do it, mostly because I don't think I got it in me, but I believe them. I believe them. They posted all their reroots on Instagram and they look very lovely. So now that I'm on to Twyla, I'm using the nylon cut at a shorter hair length, and as you can see, it is possible as long as the hair is long enough to weave through your fingers. But I've already expressed this grievance in my Neon Frights Twyla video. I I already have, or one of my biggest frustrations is the ends of the hair lengths being even. And unfortunately, when I cut the nylon hank, the hair was really slippery, the hair was really staticky, and I also, my scissors weren't sharp enough, so it was cut in a very jagged way, so the ends were not even at all, which which means that uh, I'm not fully satisfied with Twyla because I don't like how messy her pigtails will end up looking, but you know, maybe I'm just being hard on myself. Um, but we'll see at the end. Let me know. Let me know if I'm just being too hard on myself. So just notice how much faster I've gotten since I first started with Draculaura with this method of rerooting. Also, as another disclaimer, you will lose hair while doing this, or it is possible for you to lose hair while doing this. You will lose less the more you get used to it, but all that considered, it's a pretty good trade-off for how fast a reroot gets done, because I haven't had to put like this head down once, and just look at how fast I'm filling out this little section here. Even though like the clip is sped up, it is still so much faster than how I would do it the normal way or the usual way where you pick up a single strand and you fold it over your finger, whatever. Um, the hair also does get a little bit tangled, but how I went about that is every now and then when my hand needed a break from holding the head, I would take my brush and I would just very gently run it across the rooted hair just to get out any of the loose hairs and just to detangle anything. And my comb was barely touching the hair. So you're not like tugging and pulling and like ripping it um out of the head. You're just very gently, lightly brushing your comb across the surface of the rooted hair. Um Also, I lost I lost footage, so that's just what Twyla looked like after she had her glue in. I also lost a lot of footage with this Venus, unfortunately, um, but I just took the whole hank of the curly 3mm nylon, I cut it in half, and then I rooted Venus using the usual method, mostly because I feel like, well, with curly reroots, the hair is technically already separated for you. So you can't, I feel like you can't necessarily like hold it over your finger or weave it through your fingers in that way. And it also prevents the hair from, or in doing it in the, basically, I feel more comfortable doing the normal or the usual reroot method with curls because less tangle, the hair is already separated for you. There you go. Venus was very fast. I did this in about an hour, maybe two, and I only did the perimeter because the hairstyle that I wanted to do with her, um, I felt like wouldn't need her whole head rooted. Um, and I already felt like her hair was becoming really thick and full from just the perimeter alone. And yes, here is the hairstyle that I had in mind for her. From this little angle, I thought it looked good. I just twisted it with my finger and held it in place just to get an idea of how it looked. But we'll get to how it looks like in the end. But yes, here are my Twyla and Track oil washed and technically not styled because I do styling after I do the face, so they will get their styling whenever that may be. But I'm very happy with how Draculaura turned out. I'm still sad about the berry color, but the reddish wine does match quite well. As you can see here, Twyla's hair is sticking out everywhere because the hair is uneven. So I'm frustrated with myself because I feel like I can't really do anything with these pigtails without it looking crazy, but it's a little too late to do anything about it. So who knows, maybe I'll change my mind and I'll be crazy and just rip out her hair and reroot her. But I don't know. We'll see. The curly girls, however, I believe turned out so gorgeous. Let's look at Venus first. So I tied off her hair. It does look good to me, but part of me does feel like maybe the top of her head is a bit flat, and I'm regretting a little bit not filling out, I don't know, at least a few more hairs up here. But the beauty of rerooting thinly is that you can always go back and add more. Because if I ended up filling out her whole head and I couldn't do this hairstyle because her hair was far too thick, then I think I'd I think I'd flip out. And surprise, the fourth doll I did was this Hauntlywood Mysteries Claudine, which I found at Ross actually because it is holiday season, so they have a pretty good doll selection around this time of the year. She is rerooted in, I think this is a 10mm curl. I don't remember the colors off the top of my head, but this is curly nylon, and she will get her own video. So yes, that is my reroot video. I don't know if my brain forgot anything, so if you have any questions, let me know. Check the description for Audrey Doll Expodar and Opalescent Custom Dolls. And I hope to see you whenever my next video may go up. Thank you for watching. I said that out of order. But bye. Thank you.